Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second edition of Working from Home with Microsoft Teams. After a successful webinar last week, we are back this week with more information on how you can work effectively from home with Microsoft Teams. Presenting with me today will be Kunal Khosla from Microsoft APAC and my colleague Udesh from ZILLIONe. Here is the agenda for the day, and today we will cover tips on working from home, how to get started fast with Microsoft Teams, and then some of the more advanced features of Microsoft Teams. And then finally, we will cover how you can deploy Microsoft Teams in your organization and how ZILLIONe can help you with that and the different kinds of offers we have based on your level of expertise with the software. Now, I will hand this over to Kunal so that he can tell you a little bit more about working from home with Microsoft Teams.
Thank you, Sujan. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of How to Be Productive While You're Working from Teams. So we're going to cover a few topics here, and I'm just going to, use the screen in full mode right now. Yeah, so absolutely. So I think we all know in what world we are living right now. We are seeing how the pandemic is actually causing a lot of businesses to change the way they've been working. Now, with this situation and with the ask from all the employees to make sure that their employees are safe and sound and are working from locations which are safe, which is they're working from home, we as Microsoft, we as a company, we've kind of committed ourselves to help in this cause as well. And that is what we're going to cover towards the end of the session on how we and ZILLIONe together are going to provide that business continuity model in Sri Lanka. We are also going to talk about a lot of things around Teams, around Teams Basic, which my friend from ZILLIONe is going to cover. In this topic, I'm going to just give you some of the learnings that we've seen over the past few weeks and the past few months on how working from home is changing the way organizations processes and organizations workflow. So when you talk about running businesses on Microsoft Teams, you know that even in this, kind of a situation where you have environmental or where you have health challenges, it becomes imperative for organizations to actually have, an availability or a continuity plan for their staff members. Now, whether that staff member belongs to an IT team, whether that staff member belongs to, a sales team or a marketing team, and they're working together collaboratively in the office, in this remote world scenario, they want that same continuity to actually go into their, homes as well. How can you make sure that your people are staying connected, their people are getting information from the organization as to what they can do? So we'll be covering all of this as we speak about and as we have the discussion points. And I think just to set expectations here, these are not something that have been an official guidance from Microsoft. These are just recommendations on how we see, how we see working from home is going to be better in this situation. So things to consider when you're working from home, and I think we all are doing that already, but I think I'll just highlight this again. It's very important to have a workspace, workspace where you can actually have a conversation. I have a kid at home, so he can barge into the room anytime that he wants because there's no one stopping him. But I guess the idea here is to make sure that you have a space where you can actually have a concentrated, a space where you can concentrate on your work, where you can make sure that your work is the one that is being prioritized. How you connect to your teams is, again, one of the common things and common factors that we need to think about. And then managing our time and well-being. We need to take breaks. And eventually, what I've seen people coming in and telling me that they've never worked so much as they were as they're working right now from home, because now people can come in and expect them to answer at any given point of time. So setting up your physical workspace, I think these are just generic, things where what you can do to have a safe and secure workspace. I wish everyone's house looked so neat and clean, but I'm for sure this is more on the image side. But the idea over here is to make sure that you have a secure space. You have people, or you have a space where you're not having distractions coming in from your other household work. The idea is also to make sure that you have equipments that are actually certified and are actually the right equipment to work. Right now, I'm using all certified devices while working from home. You guys are all using certified device in ZILLIONe as well, because they are one of the hardware vendor partners as well for us. Common questions asked here: hey, I'm working from home, and I want to make sure that my Wi-Fi remains connected. Yes, your Wi-Fi will remain connected, but then if you have your wife, if you have your kids watching or streaming videos and all that stuff, you don't have that control on your Wi-Fi if you've not set it up in that way to actually, prioritize your traffic. So best option for us will be always to have a wired Ethernet to your home router and connecting to your PC. That brings in the ability for us to, have better internet connection, especially in events like these. So I'm connected right now via the wired Ethernet. But in events like these, and events like you're having a CEO town hall, or if you're having anything, it's always good to make sure that on those specific days or on those specific events, you're actually limiting the events of other services like YouTube, Netflix, or Amazon, or whatever we go with. So again, from a quality experience perspective, it's always good to use certified handset. They go through a rigorous testing process to make sure that they are the right products which can be used in any given scenario. Whether it's about using any certified headset, which will give you the best experience, or whether it's about using any non-certified USB headset as well. The experience in those two categories are pretty much going to be, like 60%, 70% same. When you go down and when you are actually speaking in your Microsoft or in your built-in laptop and microphones, that is the experience that is not enhanced or optimized to use with Microsoft Teams. So the idea over here is to make sure that you're using certified devices on Teams to make sure that you have better voice call quality and better video quality as well. You obviously have an option to make test calls. You can either go onto the search bar on the top to make a test call and get the results on how your webcams or how your network or speaker is connected and what is it that the test call results is depicting. If there is any call quality issue that we are running into, we will be definitely emphasizing or highlighting in the test results as well. There are some parameters through which we define what's connected and what's causing disturbance. So you will see that as well in this test devices as well. So again, one is, of course, knowing that you have a proper workspace, you have proper devices, you have proper cameras, you have proper internet connection. The second way is on how you are actually now communicating with your team members who are now dispersed in different locations. So how you can actually communicate with them and how you can actually make it easier for all of them to come in together and have fun and do things that you were accustomed to doing when you were in the office. I know people like to drink a lot of tea and go for some breaks on and off. You can definitely set that up as a fun channel within your organization to make sure that you can have some chit chat and some lovely banter over there as well that can go on. So make sure that you're having those ways to communicate with your team members, and all of those team members need to see on how you're actually or what messages are you trying to land despite working with them. So again, communication is one part, right? The second part is collaboration as well. You're working, sales team is, in one part of Colombo, marketing team is in another part of Sri Lanka, maybe the IT team is sitting in the office, but maybe only 2 or 3 people are going to the office and the rest of them are, working from home, trying to access all of those things remotely. How do you actually collaborate? How do you actually continue with the momentum of co-authoring together on a device, producing events so that, majority of your organization can come in? So all of that is kind of collaboratively brought together, and we'll be covering all of this in the demos, which Yudi and myself will cover. But the idea is to, give you a kind of a platform from Microsoft perspective where you can actually provide your communication, your collaboration, and your online meeting experience together. Whether your online meetings is, if you're running a meeting on Teams, how can you make sure that you're giving your users an ability to dial in case they are living in an area where there is not enough internet connection, or the internet connection is not that great, or maybe the internet is spotty? How can you give them that option to actually dial in to a conferencing to a conference call and be a part of that conference from their mobile phone. How you can make sure that you can leverage on any device, whether it's your phone, whether it's your web browser, whether it's your Teams client, to actually participate in a meeting and get the same experience across all the devices, right? And then, of course, talking about accessibility. In this scenario as well, if we can turn on live captions, if we can make sure that our content is accessible for everyone, this kind of makes sure that our reachability as a team, as an organization, is across all horizons. So that is where the things like the artificial intelligence that we've been released, that we've been integrating into the Teams platform, the algorithms that we are doing on the Teams platform, all of those things are actually very interesting and are actually helping organizations to reach at scale. Right. So the role of the manager becomes very critical here on how the manager is actually, creating an environment in a remote work scenario where he's engaging and inculcating that culture within the team, within the remote teams, to make sure that they are, contributing more than the 100% or at least 100% of what they were doing in the office. So you can lead from example. Like I made a promise to myself that as long as I am working from home, any and every call that I join is a video call. I make sure that my video is turned on in any and every call that I'm a part of. Again, first thing, it gives me an ability to have an eye contact. It gives me an ability to showcase that I'm more than willing to come forward and have a conversation to you face to face, just I would have done in school, in the office. Why did I say school? In the office, school. Yeah, I know why I said school, because of my kid. So again, all of these things are pretty much that are part of the job as a manager that you get into, but now you're getting even more stretched as a manager to make sure that you're coaching and you're having those one-on-ones as a manager as well, that you can do on video, to make sure that you're showing that connect with the employee as well. So all of that from a role of the manager needs to come in and needs to be inculcated into the culture. So I think with that, I think that is where we bring this specific tool or platform I call as Microsoft Teams, which brings about the entire collaboration and productivity experience into one application, whether that is communicating through a persistent chat or a group chat or a one-to-one chat or a one-to-many chat, whether that is to provide you with powerful online meetings that tells you on what you can do before, during, and after a meeting, provide you with an option to actually automate all of those things and give you that ability to make those changes on meetings. Then, of course, the enterprise voice piece, how you can make sure that you can assign your Office DID number to the Microsoft Teams client, and how you can make sure that your Teams, your single number or your Office number follows you back home. That is all done through enterprise calling and voice, and ZILLIONe is one of the topmost partners that we have, who's been helping us drive these voice and these powerful Microsoft Teams advanced features in Sri Lanka. The last and not the least is the application or the ability to integrate line of business or third-party application into Teams, which is called its Extensibility Platform story. This is huge. This is very huge in this scenario where we are all working from home. How can we make sure that our applications are now getting integrated into Teams? How we can make sure that we are having our traditional line of business application on a specific vertical, whether it's HR, whether it's finance, all of those applications coming in and talking to Teams. And then how can we also leverage on the Office 365 applications, which are Word, PowerPoint, Power BI, Power Apps, Flow. We'll be talking about those in the next couple of sections. But as of now, I think this is what I wanted to cover, and everything on Teams is actually provided with an enterprise layer security on top. So whether that is using, security products like, DLP, rights management, how do you make sure when you're adding guests, common questions asked as, hey, I want to add a guest into Microsoft Teams, but I need to make sure that he's not downloading my file. How do we set that up? How do we use Azure Information Protection? So all of those stories are available for us to leverage onto our teams to make sure that we have data and security and compliance within the same platform, which is giving you everything else from a business productivity perspective. So with that, I will hand it over now to Yudi to come in, or Udesh to come in and have a conversation around what he can showcase to us. So Udesh, over to you.
Yes. Thanks, Kunal. My task is taking you through the what is Teams and how Microsoft Teams can support you in order to do the day-to-day operations and day-to-day life with normal routines. Actually, Microsoft Teams is the kind of a hub for the teamwork. It's a platform. It has a lot of apps connected to there. But mainly it has four pillars. You can do chatting, you can do Teams collaboration, you can do meetings, and you can do calls. So Microsoft Teams is not just a tool to do only meetings. It can do more than that. It's just a hub for corporations. So moving forward, we have a lot of clients for the teams. So you have the entire normal Teams client itself, you have the web client, and you have mobile client. So if you look at the compatibility of the Teams client, desktop, if it is Windows 7 and above, it's supported. Even for the OS X 10.10 and plus, it's supported. When it comes to the mobile devices, it is supporting for iPad, iPhone, Android, and all these major platforms. And when it comes to the browsers, it supported Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, and Firefox. So it supports all these platforms. So my task today is not talking into the presentation, not taking you to the presentation, but taking you to the live environment. So what I will do is I'll take you to the live environment. In a traditional world, the way we start our office life should be changed in the current digitalized world, because the thing is we are in the digital world these days. So the way we start our work in the earlier should not be the same now. So how now I'm going to show you how we can start our work in normal office life. The first thing what I do normally, as soon as I come to office and open my laptop, I go to Teams and I go to activities. So here it shows my recent activities. So I have a lot. So I don't know what to check first. So first of all, I should check what are things addressed to me. So how I can do it? There's a filter over here. So I can easily filter which is mentioned to me. So these are the conversations which are mentioned to me. So easily I can click, okay, what are things they have they have asked me to do all these things. So it's easier, it makes my life more easier. And same time, even though it has a lot of conversations, I can easily select, I can filter only unread messages. So that also support me to concentrate on what I should read first. So all the unread messages are there, so I can go through one by one and say what are things I have to attend. So that is how I can look into my activities. Then while you're going through the activities, there might be a situation I want to contact one of my colleague. So I can go to chat right here. And this is the person Alex. So Alex and I'm always talking to each other, chatting each other. So can you say it's pinned? So pinned means it's always on the top. So always any people that you frequently chat with, you can simply click here and pin it. So it will come in the top itself. So Alex, I want to chat with Alex. So he's available to have a quick chat. So I want to know that. In the same time, we'll see Alex can chat with me. But this is normal chat. We all of us knows about these things. But the thing is, sometimes Alex might miss it. So we want to contact him immediately. I need the attention because the thing is, there might be a situation he is also busy. So in that case, what I can do is I can set my delivery options over here as an important or else urgent. So if I set it important, it will mark separately. But if I set it as urgent, every 2 minutes for 20 minutes he will get notified. So he knows that there's something urgent. So because he's getting a notification in every 2 minutes up to 20 minutes. So I can put it as a urgent. And send it like this way. At the same time, while we are chatting, to make it more interesting, we can add some emojis over here. But these emojis are available in all the chatting applications. So we should be able to make it more attractive. So how we can make it more attractive? We can add more GIF like this. And same time, if I want to do more customization, I can send a sticker like this, and I can customize it. So by doing these kind of things, we can make it more personalized. So same time, when I want to appreciate his effort on some projects or something, we can make it further personalized, and I can send a praise to him like this way. So we'll say he's a kind of a good problem solver. This is I can see the preview, and I can send it. So like by doing these kind of small things, you can make it more attractive. You can make it more attractive and more personalized chat with your team members. That will make sure that will get the attention, and you can make it more easier. While we are chatting like this, if you want to have a kind of a video chat with the same person, you can simply click on this icon, and you can have a video chat. But if you want to have a voice chat, you can go to click this icon, and you can have a voice chat. Just imagine, we'll say Alex is a kind of a technical person, and you need some support. If we want to get some support, you want to share your screen, you can easily click on this icon, and you can share your screen with Alex. So he will know that you have shared your screen, and Alex can see it. While he's seeing it, he can support you, he can guide you for all the troubleshooting. So actually, this particular feature we can use a lot in our normal day-to-day life as well. Same time, if you want to add more people into the same chat, you can add a couple of people from here as well. You can add people to the same chat. Now, something is really important. I want to have a kind of a document shared. I have a document shared with Alex. So we want to work together on the same document. So Alex, can you work on my document? So what we are going to evidence now is co-authoring. So Alex and Megan has shared a couple of files. In this chat history, it is difficult for me to find the locate the actual file that he has shared, because there are a lot of chats in here. But I can simply click on the files tab over here, and I can see what is the actual file he is want to work in with. So I will work on this particular file. Now, as Megan, I have logged into the same file, and Alex also log into the same file. So you can see it over here. AW, Alex is working on this section. So we'll ask Alex to do some changes into my file. Alex, I have to change this not less than, it should be more than $100. And less than 1,000. And the same time, while he is working there, I also can support like this way. So both people can work in the same file and make it more interactive. So rather than sending the same file a couple of times here and there, sending to without rather than emailing, by this way, both these people can log in into the same file. Not two people. You can log in into the same file more than two once you share it. So you can work like this way. We call it a co-authoring. So co-authoring is supporting here. So it's a very nice tool because it can save your time a lot. So once you are done with your chats and all, you have to look into all the meetings that you're currently working on. So once you go to calendar, you can see all the meetings that you have for this date. In calendar, there's something called Meet Now. So if you want to meet a person quickly, rather than waiting till kind of arranging a meeting, online meeting kind of a thing, you can simply click on Meet Now and add a person, join him to the meeting, join that person to the meeting. And same time, what you can do, this Meet Now, you can do it in the calendar like this. And if you are in the kind of a channel, if you're in a channel like this in a team, you want to meet for entire people who is in this particular channel. So you can simply click Meet Now over here. So this will take a call for all the people who is in this particular channel. So in the calendar, you can add one person or you can add multiple people to the same Meet Now for the meeting. But here it will give a meeting for the entire people who is in the same channel. And while we are doing that, there's another way of doing the live events. So we are doing the live event today. So same time, you can also arrange a live event for all of your people, something like this. So when you're arranging a live event, you can add people and you can add that particular person as a presenter or the producer. And same time, once you click on the next, here you can make it as a personal or the organization wide. So I'm going to put an organization wide, and this is something really cool feature. Captions. So in the kind of a multinational companies, there might be people who's in different world countries. In that case, if you want to communicate with them easily, you can spoken language. This is English. You can translate into 6 different languages. So you can select what are the languages you want to translate. So while the person is talking, it will be translated to this particular languages and people can read it. So I believe this is a very cool feature. So it is really make life easier for most of the people. And this is kind of ad hoc meetings we do. But same time, there might be a situation we might have to kind of schedule a meeting. So this is one of the scheduled meeting that I want to join now. So we'll join to this scheduled meeting and see how we can work on it. Okay, so I'm going to join to the scheduled meeting. So for the time being, I will switch off my mic and I join. I want Alex also to join to the same meeting. I believe he also in there in a couple of minutes. Alex, can you join to the same meeting? Yes. So we started the meeting. Now I want to see, apart from two of us, who else in this particular meeting. So I can simply click on here and I can see Nesta also is in this meeting, but he's not connecting yet. So what I can do, I can ask him to join like this. So you can still he's unavailable. If it is available, you can see it is begin over here. Then it will go into his mobile and he can join. And while we are doing this kind of a presentation in a meeting, you can turn on the live caption. So whatever things that particular person is talking, if you can't listen very carefully, listen perfectly, you can enable the live caption. So once you enable the live caption, you can see what he's talking. So that those captions will be in here, just down here. So you can see what are the things person is talking. Mainly when you're in a meeting, we have to share our screen. So by click on this share icon, you can easily share your screen, and not only share on your screen, you can take the meeting notes as well. So because this is a meeting, definitely there should be some notes. So you can click here. You can go to the meeting notes, and you can take notes while you're having the meeting itself. So you don't have to look here and there. You don't have to take all of your pencils and books and those kind of things to take the notes, because in the meeting itself you can take all of your notes what you want. And I want to share my screen, but same time, not only my screen, I want to share my whiteboard, because this is kind of an interactive session. So I want to have a whiteboard session now. So like this, you can share your whiteboard. While it comes back here, right, it came. Great. So you can click your pencils like this. You have 4 different colors and you can select what you want. But just imagine, this is not only things what you want more. So what you can do, you want to add a picture over here and you can edit on that particular picture. So in that case, you can open in app. The Whiteboard app is available. So once you open the Whiteboard app, you can get more features, just more features than just those 4 markers it has. So we'll let it open. Okay, good. So I want to add one picture over here. So we are going to have our annual trip. So this is the route that we are going to have in this particular trip. And I want to have your attention in these sections. So how this looks like to you. So definitely when you're having a meeting, you can make it more interactive like this way. There might be a lot of situations like we are in the call, but we have to attend to another meeting and we have to go while we are in the call itself. So in that kind of environment, in that kind of situation, how you can do it? In that case, what you can do, you have a mobile app. So here I have my mobile with me. So I can easily open my Teams in my mobile. And this is the where's my meeting? So you can select your meeting from the mobile itself, and you can join from the for that particular meeting. So once you join from the mobile, it will be very seamless. So people will not notify that even. So you can simply hang up this particular call, but still you are on the call on your mobile. So Alex and Megan can have a chat with the entire visuals and all. And even in the mobile, if you want to see the live captions, that is possible. And if you want to share the mobile screen, that's also possible. So these are very cool features. So without even let Alex know that you are on the move, you can transfer your mobile, your call, which was on the laptop, to your mobile and go out while you are and have the conversation while you are on the way. So this is about how you can do more interactively.
Great work, Yuri. Thank you so much for this. All right. So, is there anything else that you are showing, or can I just take it forward?
Yeah, Kunal, give me 1 second because there's another call which I want to show. Just after that, I think you can take it over. Here, I want to show one more thing now, which is in the Teams. We are having a couple of conversations. So while we're having a conversation, there might be a couple of people who is in other countries. So you can here, can you see it here? It's kind of a German language which I have typed here. You can, and if you want to understand what he has there, you can simply translate. So it does that as well. And you can put not only the chat, but you can put the announcement and the conversations like this. So same time, you can mark it important. And you can have the conversation like this. So that's really cool. I believe this will be more important. And when you have files over here in one of the projects, these files, if you want to make it visible, you can get the retention labels and sensitivity labels as well. So this will becomes if you have once you implemented your Azure information protection, and you can see all the labels which you have put in here. And if you want to have a tile view, that's also possible. You can get a quick tile view. So like this, I can take you through more and more new cool features. And Kunal, I think considering the time, the last one I'm going to show is how you can get into know about what are the new features. So in the command box, just type what is new. This will help you to get all the new features in Teams, including the dates and all. So this is the best thing you can do. I think now I can hand it over to Kunal. Kunal, I think you can take it over. I have more one more features, but because of the time, I think now is good time to hand it over to Kunal.
Yeah, no worries. I completely understand. It's such a wide platform to actually provide all the information and just a couple of minutes or in a 1 hour session. But then the idea is to give you a brief overview of what we've been dealing with and what we've been seeing as the common things that customers have asked for from a feature parity perspective, from knowing how they can use Teams in a better way. One other thing that I wanted to share was, and again, this is my own Microsoft team account, and luckily I have all the teams that are hidden. But then the idea over here is that many people have asked that, hey, I'm working from home. I'm part of sales team. I'm part of marketing team. I want to make sure that I have more than 2 instances or more than 1 instance on which I can actually browse and have conversations with different teams. So one of the things that is in this scenario is that you already have a Microsoft team client on your desktop. So this is the one client that you actually get whenever you're enrolling into Microsoft Teams. The other part is that, of course, there has always been an option to sign in using the web browser. Yuri also showed that, right? Now, in this scenario, what we can also do, especially with the Edge Chromium browser, what we've done is we've given an ability of applications. Now, you can either create or manage an app or open the Microsoft Teams application as well. So what I do is I have an option to create an application of Microsoft Teams web page that I've opened up. So that opens up another instance of Microsoft Teams. If you see down at the bottom of my screen, I have an option of actually now an option to actually pin this to my taskbar as well. So as and when I pin this to my taskbar, I have 2 different instances of Microsoft Teams that are running on my system. One is the application that I downloaded or that have been given to me by the IT people. And the other one is, of course, my application that I got from the browser itself. So this is pretty useful if you're talking in a multitasking scenario. You're talking to different teams. You're attending a conversation in a sales team, and you're attending a conversation in a marketing team. You don't have to toggle between those things separately on those teams. There was an option that people wanted to see this, and this has just been something new for me as well when I was seeing through the Edge browser. So definitely worth a try, and I think you should definitely try that out in your browsers as well if you're using the Edge browser or the Edge Chromium browser. The other thing that I wanted to also showcase or have a discussion with you was around the new features that have been released. And I'm just going a bit off track, but I wanted to tell you that you need to follow the tech community blog of Microsoft Teams. If it is not something that you've saved in your web browser history, do save this, because this is where all the recent announcements that we're doing on the 3rd anniversary of Microsoft Teams, along with the other new things that are always released with Microsoft Teams are, going ahead. So I'll make sure that when we are sharing the slide deck, the tech community link is already added into the slide deck for you guys as well. But a couple of cool new features that we're doing. We're investing heavily around on voice quality. This was one of the most focus area for us. And whenever you're joining from a Wi-Fi in a hotel or from a 3G network or things like that, the audio experience is always very choppy. So we've included new algorithmic improvements that we've done on Microsoft Teams that have actually enhanced the voice quality very much. We are coming with the background blur that you were seeing on the iOS device as well, and custom backgrounds as well are going to be released soon. We do have some pipeline that we are going through from an engineering standpoint perspective, where these background discussions are going on. So we don't have a full-fledged date right now, but it will be pretty soon, knowing the Microsoft engineering teams. Now, again, from a application standpoint perspective on how we are using Teams as a platform when we are integrating applications, and I think Yudi showed that as well. But what's coming out is around how you can actually use bookings application in Teams and how you can integrate that within your calendar and make sure that you can actually use that as an option to make bookings for an appointment, for a doctor, for a healthcare visit, for a virtual financial consultant that you want to. So all of that stuff is coming in. There's a lot of integration that is happening. Raise hand feature, this is coming as well, and this is being rolled out as we speak. So the raise hand feature is also going to come out when when you have an ability, like in this call, this is live event, but in a meeting environment right now, if you have more than 20 or 30 people joining in, it sometimes is very hard to find who's actually asking a question. So that user can use the raise hand functionality to make sure he's highlighted. So this is coming as well. Background noise suppression. This is something that's really cool. That is where the AI engine of Teams comes into picture, where we use the artificial intelligence algorithm to suppress and differentiate between noise and speech. So if a person is talking and if a person is using a packet of chips like this gentleman on my colleague from the US team is doing, if you go through the link, if you go through the video, you would see how much of a difference this noise suppression kind of brings in. So all of these things are coming down. There are information around new codec that is also coming down. So people who are from a voice background, they would know that having a low bandwidth codec which can provide you crystal clear audio is very important. So we are coming with an in-house codec that is developed from completely in-house, which is having a bandwidth of around 7 kbps. So that really helps in those scenarios. So lots and lots of stuff that are coming out. Have a look at this blog. Keeping time into consideration, I would just quickly jump into the rest of the things that we have had on our presentation as well. So UD has gone through the documentation already. I think what we want to highlight is from a Microsoft Teams perspective on how you can use the customization and extension portion of Microsoft Teams. How you can make sure that you're engaging with your people on the software products that they've been using. Now, these software products can be built by us, which are the Office 365 products or applications or services, which are now integrated into Teams or which have always been integrated natively into Teams. Or you can use third-party applications like Trello, like GitHub, like Adobe, like Jira ticketing system, ServiceNow. There are almost 400 plus partner applications that we have that you can actually leverage on. Now, some of them are paid, some of them are free, some of them have a charge, some of them requires you to have a subscription with those applications, but that's all that it takes to actually integrate that. So these are applications that are ready to use from a security standpoint perspective. We have a rigorous process before an application actually gets published on Application Store. So that clarifies the doubt on how and what will be the data that will be accessed from the application and things like that. We'll be happy to share that with you as to what we do behind the scenes to make sure that the applications are all secure and are in compliance with what we think as security best practices for these applications. We'll be happy to share that information. The next layer is where it gets a little bit more interesting, where we have conversations around, applications that are custom in nature. You have an application in maybe in retail where you have a return application where you can manage all your returns that people are sending you. They're returning the clothes back. You have a different application, a different software to actually deal with the exchange policies and stuff like that. You have a loan approval process through which you go from one desk to another in a bank. You have a specific manufacturing application that manages your supply chain, that manages your invoices and things like that. How can you bring those applications in this hour into Microsoft Teams is what the extensibility story of Microsoft Teams is all about. So happy to talk more about this, but given what we know right now and what we have, there are different ways through which you can actually bring an application to life. And I think we showed that before, but I'll just show that again. You do have an option to actually bring in your application into Microsoft Teams through App Studio, right? So App Studio is what we consider as a way in which you can actually import any existing application that you have or create a new application. Now, there are other parameters inside this. When we have a conversation deeper into this, we can definitely guide you on what you can do, what is the need from an app dev perspective that you should be aware of. But apart from that, what is also amazing is how you, without a developer, can leverage onto the Power application or low-code, no-code applications through Power Apps, through Flow, through other things that are happening around it. So this was something that we created as a part of our outreach into a crisis scenario, a crisis communication app, which actually talks about how you can actually provide information to your employees and get the same information about help that your employees want through their help request. So lots and lots to talk about. I'm very mindful of the time, and we have Sujan as well who needs to cover about this, but we'll be happy to share more information around these, around how you can use these applications into Teams and how you can actually get it started without even having to invest on anything, because these are premium features that are actually provided right now by Microsoft to make sure that you can start using these applications out of the box into your production environment as well. So again, the idea over here was to make sure that we are highlighting how you can use or use an application into Microsoft Teams, right? So we have different ways in which an application comes to life, whether that's coming to life through a bot, through a tab, through a notification. Bots being bots, right? You can have bots to answer all your queries. Now, these can either be a Q&A bot or can be actually a conversation bot, where a bot tells you when you're actually reaching out to the bot as to what he can do. You see you can see the bot like here that we've created in the Teams client that we created a bot, which was pretty much all about a hiring bot that we created. If I call this bot, I do get an option on this bot, where the bot tells me what he can do. If I click on anything over here, I can get the information right from my fingertips. Now imagine this being, a bot that you've created for your employees, FAQ document in your organization, how to respond to a crisis situation. You can integrate that with your Power App as well. Create a virtual agent in your Power App to make sure that it embeds and lands the value over there. So all of that information is available. We'll be happy to talk more about that with you. Tabs, again, is the way in which you actually bring an application to life. So if you're looking at a web-based application that you guys are more accustomed to use, you can embed that web application into Microsoft Teams. Like if I take an example of either my application that I've created, or if I take an example of a third-party application that I want to add, I do have an option to actually add that as well. Now, since I'm logged in, it automatically picks up my credential and asks me to, probably create a specific tab that is required for this information for this team. So I think the HR team needs to know how they can learn a language. And I've created something at home in Trello, which is a software which kind of gives me an entire view of what are the tasks, what are the schedules, how can I make sure that all of these things are working. All of that information here. I can make sure I can embed that as any web application, because this is based on IIS, so any web application can be integrated into Microsoft Teams as a tab. So consider this as a canvas board. You can bring limited information or your entire web application into Microsoft Teams. From a plugin perspective, now you have an option to actually unpin or pin an application inside Microsoft Teams on your left side rail. So if I have an application like Shifts, right? So Shifts is something that we use from a shift scheduling perspective. How you can assign specific shifts to specific people, how you can make sure that you have an option to actually swap for a shift, make sure you have a time off request, make sure you have an offer that you want to offer this shift to someone else. All of those functionalities from a shift scheduling perspective is now integrated as well with workforce applications like Kronos. So now Teams and Shifts together with Kronos gives that entire visibility that you would want in a shift scheduling software. Even if you're not using applications like Kronos, you can actually use Shifts to make sure that your end users have all the vision and all the availability of how the shifts are, and they get one window in which they can actually swap. The difference to those first line workers, there will be no difference in how they see that on their mobile as compared to the desktop. It'll be all the same. They'll have all the action buttons as well, in which they can actually talk and schedule shift, have an IM conversation with someone before they want to swap the shift, request for a time off. We can automate the entire journey by using flows as well. When you send a vacation request, it automatically gets to your boss, and it gives your boss an ability to either approve or disapprove within the same application. So all of that is available. All of that is available within the Teams application and within the shift scheduler. If I need to pin this application, I just right click on this application and click on pin, and it gets pinned right here on the left bar. Imagine your LOB application or any other productivity application that you're using on the App Store. You can definitely bring this into Microsoft Teams. Now we have applications that ranges from different segments. Like we've segregated the application based on developer and IT applications. How can your IT teams work using GitHub? Using either your Power Apps. What can they do using specific applications or chatbots? Whatever applications that you're accustomed to, you can definitely use that. You also have an option to update it either for yourself or for your specific team or for the entire organization, any custom application that you want to bring into Teams. Again, a lot to talk about, but keeping time into consideration, I'm going to take a pause here and I'm going to pass it on to Sujan, but we'll be happy to take your questions and reach out to ZILLIOne, reach out to the Microsoft Sri Lanka team, reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you in your journey right now and make sure that the transformation for you to working from office, to working remotely, or utilizing the entire platform functionalities that you've actually paid for, make you realize, make you get the use case, make you realize how you can use this product in the entire journey of an employee. We'll be more than happy to help you in this scenario. Right. So over to you, Sujan. I think I've spoken a lot, so I'll pass it on to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you very much, Kunal Udesh, for that excellent demonstration on the feature highlights of Teams. Hello again, everyone. Hopefully, everyone was excited to see how you could use this in your own organizations as well and enable your employees to still contribute effectively to your business while working from home. That's what this was all about for us today, to showcase the Teams features, but also for you to see how you can use them within your own organizations. That being said, we have two different offers for everyone today. The first offer is for those of you who already have Microsoft Teams and just need a little bit more help to use it effectively. Here we can help you with adoption and change management of switching to working from home via Microsoft Teams and deploying it in your organization. We can deliver virtual workshops for even up to 1,000 people via Teams, and these can include all the following different types of workshops. So a Teams adoption workshop on how to get started, how to get onboarded, that kind of thing. And then a workshop on calling via Teams, and then setting up meetings via Teams, and then all the other solutions that you can bring into, like the ones Kunal just demonstrated. As part of this offer, we are also giving 10% off on Jabra audio devices, so that you can have the best audio quality while working from home. Now, what I think is a bit more exciting is for those of you who already don't have Teams deployed, this is a great time to jump on board, since Microsoft has offered a Teams trial license of up to 6 months to get you started. And since ZILLIOne is a fast-track ready partner, we are able to offer you the best tools and practices that allow for fast and hassle-free deployment of Microsoft Teams for your organization. And if you have more than 150 users, we can even do this FOC for you. So that's great news, and this is what we are offering. Along with that, we will also help you get onboarded with 3 remote adoption sessions. So that is essentially webinars like this or even smaller workshops where we can get all your users on board and teach them how to get started on working with Teams. Again, we are able to offer the 10% off on the Jabra audio devices so that you can truly experience great sound quality while working from home. So I think those are the 2 main offers we have from ZILLIOne. So if you are interested in deploying Teams to your organization, please reach out to any of your account managers who may have invited you for this event or anyone else you may know at Zillion. If not, you can simply drop us an email and we will help you to get onboarded as soon as possible. We will also be sharing these details with you via an email after this session. So thank you very much for participating in this webinar, and we will be opening up for Q&A soon. Thank you again to everyone for joining us. So you can please type in your questions, any questions that you may have regarding anything we have presented today onto the chat window. I think we had a few questions already. Can we get to answering them? Udesh, do you want to take any of the questions that we have so far?
Yeah, so actually, I have seen a couple of people asking whether we can use Teams to do the remote support, like remote softwares. Yes, actually, you can use Teams. As I mentioned, you can do the session screen sharing, and you can support for your from the technical people to other people. So you can do inside the organization, and same time you can do it even outside of your organization. The beauty is entire session you can record it as well. But the whole purpose of Teams is not only doing the remote support; it's a kind of value-added feature which is in the Teams.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Udesh. And I think we have one other question here that says, how do we have a Teams meeting with someone who is outside your organization, given that she is also using Teams? I think this is a simple one. You would just, I think you also know that your Outlook calendar and your Teams calendar is also synced. So you simply have to send them a Teams meeting invite and include their email address with their organization, and they should be able to join you on Teams once you start the call. Right, let me see what other questions we have here today. I think someone has asked a question about, can we increase the notified time, or is it only alerting for 20 minutes? I'm assuming that is asking about meeting reminders. And I think meeting reminders are set up by individuals on their own calendars. And they can set it to however many minutes they want to be reminded before the meeting. Right. Do we have any other questions?
Suryan, I can say one question actually regarding one person is having two different companies and two different companies whether they can collaborate with the channels. Yes, you can do. You can collaborate with each and every two domains and you can work in that way. That's possible.
Right. I think another question here is asking how exactly do you organize a webinar? That's very simple. On your Teams calendar view, you just need to, when you're creating a meeting, you simply choose a live event option. And then that gives you a variety of options to organize a webinar. In fact, it'll be something like this. This itself is a live event. And you are able to send an attendee for everyone who you want. Right. Let me see if we can go through any other questions we have here. Right. I think there's a question regarding downloading the recordings of webinars as well. So I think that will depend on how you set up the meeting. You can either choose to allow attendees to download the recording or just for the organizers of the event. Um, I think another question that people are asking is, does it have a time limitation like Zoom? No, I don't think so. I don't think there may be a long-term limitation, but I don't think it's anything shorter than 3 to 4 hours. I think a webinar has to be under 4 hours or a live event has to be under 4 hours. But for a general meeting, I don't think there's a limitation. Of course, on the paid licenses. I think one question asked here has been, can we stream our event and record at the same time or stream to another platform? So when you are hosting a live event, something similar to this, you will always be able, the recording is actually automatically done and you will be able to download it as soon as your live event is over from an organizer point of view. About streaming on another platform, we will have to get back to you on that. Please send us an email.
Sujan, I can say one more question, like asking about the browser compatibility. So even it's supported for iOS, it has not we have not listed Safari browser. Actually, Teams client is there for the iOS. For the Safari browser, it will be, but not 100%. So currently, it's still working on it. So for the Safari browser, it will work, but not. We can't get into all the features and all. But that's why we have the Microsoft Teams client for Apple devices.
Yes. And you're right, Pradesh. And there's always access to Chrome and all of that, even on Mac OS. So I don't see any problem accessing Teams on any platform. Another question has been, currently the number of videos shown on the main screen is 4 large tiles. Will it be extending to more in the future? I think the answer to that is yes. I think Microsoft is working very hard on extending that feature, I think within this year, at some point this year. But how it works is, I think multiple people will have their video on, but the people speaking will be the focus in one of the 4 tiles. Right. I think that has been all of the questions for today.
Suryan, one important question I have seen here. Can I check the file edit history? I think it should be history. Yes, actually, this is actually one of the major requirement people are having. When you shared file with couple of people, they don't know who edit where and what. Actually, with the Microsoft Teams and documents shared in the OneDrive or SharePoint or Teams, you can see the edit history as well. Who has done what and which sections. That is possible.
I think another person has a question regarding the syncing to Outlook calendar. So this will have to be configured by your admin. Please reach out to us via email after this to see how we can help you with this. Okay, I think those have been all the questions for today, and we have gone actually 10 minutes over time. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Hope you learned something useful, not just about Teams, but also from about working from home and the shift in, the whole shift in how we have all started working these days. So thank you very much, and hopefully hope to see you again at our next webinar too.